Alright, the first impression of the finance minister's budget this year is that it generally does what the Modi government had planned to do. In other words, it says that I am putting money where growth would come from. Now remember, this government doesn't have essentially any surplus to really spread it around. So what he is doing is, he is trying to essentially put whatever money he can in the agro and agro related sectors, and leaving the rest for for private in sector to fill in the gap. This is a challenge that can only come through if the fiscal deficit remains under control. So there is an incentive for the private sector to get into the business of investing. So he has taken a very strong, what you might call a leap of faith, to say I will stick to the 4.1% fiscal deficit, which most analysts had said was totally out. He is sticking to that. He is taking a leap on subsidies. The subsidy numbers, as you can see, have not really changed. The petroleum subsidies stays exactly where the interim budget had said. The fertilizer subsidy stays exactly where it said. So he has not been able to cut down subsidies, but he's saying that I am not going to raise the subsidy amount, but I am hopeful that these expenditure limits will not be breached. And if they will not be breached, he is saying that my tax numbers, which Chidambaram had put it at 21%, he says that I will stick to close to that number at around 19.5% or so. In that case, what happens essentially is that he is saying my income will be more or less what I am expecting from the interim budget also. My expenditure will not be breached, so the government will do no harm. As we said, it is a leap of faith, because this, he thinks, will trigger private sector enthusiasm to invest in sectors which they think is reasonable and good. So the government essentially is saying that I am not changing anything where, as far as the economy is concerned. I am simply leaving the status quo and hoping that you guys now come in, because of the positive stability that we are giving you, to invest in relative sectors. The money that I have, I am going to invest in sectors where I think there is a need for intervention, which, as we said, is roughly the social and the agricultural sector. It's a strategy that frankly has a lot of ifs and buts, but it's a strategy which is obviously thought through, and it's a strategy that will depend a lot on the fact that this government can deliver. Well, there were two tax concerns in this budget. One was the issue of retrospective taxation, which was a major issue for corporate India, because it's not just retrospective, it also tells them that how the government looks at its tax issues vis-a-vis the corporate sector, whether it's adversarial or whether it is something which they would like to build on together. The finance minister said that I will keep the laws as they are, so the retrospective taxes stay, but I will not be harsh on the sector, which is what I will do by setting up a high level committee in the taxation, in the CBDT, to work out ways in which a resolution could be worked out. That's for the corporate sector. Now, what does it hold for the salaried class? For the salaried class, he is given savings incentive. The savings rate in India has gone down to 30%. He is saying that I am going to give incentives for saving more. So the limit on public provident fund goes up to 1.5 lakh. Similarly, Kisan Vikas Patras are back in vogue. Similarly, National Savings Certificate for girl child. So there are a lot of savings instrument that has been built in. So if you build on savings, you get tax relief. Similarly, he is given some marginal relief on tax rates. So essentially, at 2 lakh base rate which was there, it now goes up to 2,50,000. So the income tax rate starts kicking in from there. Broadly, including the PPF, including the benefit for housing, and this one which is on the base, the overall impact on, say, somebody who's earning, who's paying rear tax at the rate of 30% would be approximately about 33,000 rupees a year. That's just a very rough ballpark calculation. We'll have to get into the finer details. For those who are the non-taxpayers, essentially, which means a larger number of people, that is about 97 crore out of only about 3 crore in India pay income tax. So there is tax exemption that is coming down on quite a few items, and those would essentially mean that the cost of living because of this budget does not go up. Thank you.